Ilhan Omar. She said, quote, Iraq was attacked by the US during Ramadan, and it's sickening to know that the US is again going to attack Iran during Ramadan. The US apparently loves to strike Muslim countries during Ramadan, and I am convinced it isn't what these countries have done to violate international law, but about who they worship. Well, firstly, Emily, what the heck has Ramadan got to do with it? And let's not forget that October 7 took place on a Jewish holiday. And secondly, thank God Kamala never won, because the regime would still be killing people and the Democrats would still be giving billions of dollars to Iran.
Not just to Iran, but also to Hamas, as we saw previously in prior administrations. But I do want to note, just for the record, that the United States did not, in fact, attack Iraq during Ramadan. But you know who actually is attacking many Muslim countries during Ramadan? The Islamic Republic of Iran, which today alone bombed Oman, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and countless other countries across the region in their futile attempt, really, to get back at Israel or the United States. Supposedly, they claim they're targeting U.S. assets in the Middle East, but I don't see how luxury hotels in Dubai or the Kuwait airport or the Dubai airport have anything to do with U.S. assets in the Middle East. So those are the people who are attacking Muslims on Ramadan. In fact, the Islamic Republic of Iran is actually the largest murderer of Arab Muslims in the Middle East. If you look at all of their activities in the past 47 years, no one else is as focused on destabilizing and harming other Muslims, especially in the Middle East, as the Islamic regime in Iran. So Ilhan Omar has no idea what she's talking about. She's been a shill for the Islamic Republic in Congress for many, many years, having endorsements from NIAC, which is one of the lobbies that's considered to be a voice of the Islamic regime in Iran, highly controversial. These are terrible positions that she's held for many years. And now we see them being echoed by people like Kamala Harris. Thank God she didn't win the election, because, again, she has no idea what she's talking about. She didn't then either. But this just reflects the polar opposite, the lack of moral clarity from these individuals who are so blinded by partisanship or by their criticisms of Donald Trump that they can't see that this is objectively a good thing, a necessary thing for the United States, for Europe, for Israel, for the Iranian people, and for the entire world. Everyone should be standing with the Iranian people right now against this regime. It isn't a difficult choice. We know that war is a difficult thing, but it's been blatantly clear for many years that there was no actual alternative to this. We've tried to negotiate. President Trump tried to negotiate. What did the Islamic regime do? They refused to play ball, because that's not what their ideology is. Their ideology is caught up in the destruction, I want to emphasize that, of the entire West. That is what they stand for. That is what they fight for. And that is what they'll continue to do until they are shut down by force, which hopefully is what we're seeing right now.
Absolutely. And what about the New York Mayor, Zohran Mamdani? I mean, this truly baffled me. He said today's military strikes on Iran carried out by the US and Israel mark a catastrophic escalation in an illegal war of aggression, bombing cities, killing civilians, opening a new theatre of war. Emily, the hypocrisy of this, because does he not know or not remember that September 11 actually happened in his city? You know, we're talking about the same sort of ideology here, and yet the left are not standing up for Iran. They're standing up for the regime. Why?
Well, this is the same pattern that we saw after October 7th. I mean, no sane person can look at the activities of Hamas and say, yeah, that makes sense. That's totally cool. Like, that's not a normal reaction to what's happening, even if you don't support Israel. And we do see some people who have harsh criticisms of Israel, who don't support everything that Israel's done, but they would never be at one of these Free Palestine mob protests where they're chanting for intifada. There's a whole movement that's being fueled, but frankly, by subversion of regimes by the Islamic Republic, Qatar, and others, who have put this narrative into Western media and social media to sow doubt, to sow discord in our communities, and to teach the Western world, the larger Western democratic world, that somehow the values of a Western civilization are wrong or evil. And it's just simply not the case. The opposite is true. And so anyone who sort of is falling for those narratives and for those storylines that are rooted in falsehoods, that are rooted in historical falsehoods and a lack of understanding about human nature and how the world works, I would caution them to think twice and to research some of these issues. There's so much disinformation, even going around now. The claims that are being made by people like Mamdani, claiming that this is an illegal war. No, it's not. Claiming that Trump acted illegally against the Constitution. This is also not true, as many members of Congress would tell you. And it's also important for Mamdani to remember that he is a mayor and that what he says about international relations and policy has nothing to do with what his job is as the mayor of New York City. And I want to add one more thing to that, which is that he campaigned on a platform that it was against the NYPD. He has previously called to cut off counterterrorism budget to the NYPD and also to cut off technology and intelligence sharing with Israel that Israel provides to keep New York City safe. This is not someone who is serious about protecting New Yorkers, contrary to what he put at the bottom of his post, that anyone is safe here. This is someone who clearly has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to international relations and is just jumping on a bandwagon to bash President Trump from a partisan perspective that doesn't take into account the reality of international relations today.